are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
Welcome once again. Hello, and welcome everybody. This is your Dressed Down CEO coming to you live again from my hometown, Yonkers, New York. Thank you so much for taking the time out today, or making the time. That's my new one. We have to make the time. So thank you everybody who made the time to come out today to get some of this knowledge, this leverage your score knowledge, this full understanding of what we as individuals of color have to do. We got to stop finding the time, because looking for that time that's out there, it's not going to happen. We have to start making. We have to start making finance. We have to start making financial freedom. We have to start making these a priority. We have to start putting them at the top of that list, because times are troubling out there. They are troubling. Our situations, for some reason, aren't really getting there where we need them. I think we got to do a little bit more molding, but I'll dive into that as I move through today's topic, which is going to be talking more about just institutionalization of what we currently see, which is not very promising for a lot of us. And we got to get in front of that. So as I always do every single week, I thank you all tremendously for making the time to come out, to give me an hour of your afternoon, which you could be doing anything else. I had a fantastic day in school. I talked to a lot of my students. We are in day number 4 of week number 2, and it has been very promising. It's always beautiful to see our youth get that education. It's always a promise to always, when you have them in your midst, to want to just love upon them and make sure that they're okay, because we know that they went through a lot. So to all my students out there, thank you for appreciating and letting me do what I need to do for you. And that will always be something that I'll take with me forever. So to everybody out there, Yonkers Public Schools, to all the schools across this nation, continue, teachers, to live true. Let's bring out that fidelity. Let's show our children that we know what they need, and we're going to give them exactly what it is. So the Yonkers Public Schools, thank you for allowing me to do what I do. So I got a new position this year, which I'm the tech guy. So I'm going to be doing some tech teaching. I'm going to be doing some math teaching. I'm going to be doing some business teaching. It's just going to be a fantastic year. And that leads me to this right here, what I do every single Tuesday for our larger audience, for the individuals who are the adults in the room, those individuals who I know. And I'm going to be talking hard subject matter today. I'm going to be pushing some envelopes today. I'm going to make a few people upset, but that's okay, because sometimes getting upset only makes you realize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm getting all angry for what? When the man is only telling me the truth. I'm not speaking directly to anyone. I'm speaking to the entire population. Full disclosure, this is an educational program. This is a program of information. We're not soliciting. We're not selling. This is all about making sure that you, the individual who has a brain, who has a heart, who has a conscience, who has an understanding, if you are going to move forward, you're going to have to make those steps. And those steps are going to have to be done by leveraging your score. By taking that, what we traditionally don't have an understanding about, getting that knowledge, allocating and redistributing in the methods in which we do our commerce. It's just that simple. If you do that, what you're going to see will eventually change, and we're going to break that cycle of dependency. Dependency, whether it be on the United States government, whether it be on your institutions, whether it be your job, whether it be financial institutions, whatever it is that keeps us from, we're going to have to break those ties, and then we're going to have to think about how we move forward. And I can tell you right now, it's so super simple. Your credit. Your credit. What I'm going to talk about today, you'll really understand that it has a lot to do with your credit. Systemic situations have prevented individuals of color from moving up that wealth ladder. And I'm going to help you today, as long as it may take, whether it goes into next week or the week after that or the week after that, every single Tuesday, I'm going to be letting you know if you don't do your part. There's nothing that I can do. I can constantly keep giving you new information. I can constantly keep feeding you that what you need, which is going to get you to that next level. But if you don't do your part, there's nothing that I can do for you. So with that being said, let's dive on into the presentation of how we're going to help you with understanding what you have to do to get to that next level. And as I stated, credit, 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 credit. You have to use the means in which you yourself are shopping. You have to use what you're using. Meaning, if you're using cash or debit, everyone is going to thank you. They're going to thank you for using that cash, for using that debit. But it's not helping your credit score. It's not. It's not doing anything. We have to look at the return on our investment. Yes, cash is king, but credit is power. I want you all to understand that. Got to start rethinking, how do I get a return on my investment? Our job is to teach you the business mindset. Because a lot of us are still consumers, and we still have that consumption mindset. And we got to start thinking about, how do we capitalize on almost every single purchase? And the way to do that is through your credit. All right. So as I stated, today we're going to be talking about the credit gap between black and whites, how it's holding black Americans back from building wealth. Yes, credit. Exactly it, credit. If we had individuals with 720s, 780s, 800s, that gap would shrink tremendously. It would shrink tremendously. And then assets are what create wealth, because assets grow in value. If we don't own anything, then we're not creating wealth. That's the simplest part of what this whole credit thing is all about. You have to own. And I'm going to get as many of you to that ownership piece by what I'm doing with credit if you want it. But you got to want it more than me. Because I'm going to do this every single week. I'm going to do this every single week. I'm going to do this as much as I possibly can. I'm out every single day. If I'm not talking to my taxi driver, if I'm not talking to the bus driver, if I'm not talking to my Lyft or Uber driver, if I'm not talking to passerbyers on the street, if I'm not talking to somebody putting a business card in that hand, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I now want you, the individuals who take the time to listen, the individuals who take the time to grab that business card and twist it and turn it and go, ooh, this is a nice business card. Yes, it is a nice business card. It is. Why? Because I invest in me. Because I'm now going to be an investor in you. Yes, I'm now asking all of you to start thinking about investing in human capital. That means the business that you frequent. Invest in them. Ask them what do they need besides my patronage. Help out our community. Do what we need to do for our community. Let's shrink this gap. And I know it's possible. The best way to do it is through how we reestablish and how we build wealth through credit. All right, so hello, leveragers, and welcome again. As you already know, CEO Tyrone Glover, and this means the world to me. You mean the world to me, and I'm going to do everything that I possibly can today to make sure that you have as much of this understanding prior to you leaving today, and as I always do every single week. I got my device. I want you to take a minute now to bring some people in. Tap them on the shoulder. Hey, that guy is on. The Dress Down CEO is on. Tap him on the shoulder. Bring him into the show. I've already done my part. I've already sent this out to a couple of my friends already, and I'm getting ready to send it out again to a couple more. But if you can equally do the exact same thing for me, go to your Facebook page, go to your Instagram page, wherever it is that you go to socialize on social media, please do me that one favor and send it to one person. Then ask that one person to send it to another person. Today's show is going to be something that I believe many of you, if you tune in and you hone into the importance of what I'm telling you, you're going to probably walk away going, you know what? I need to call Tyrone. Thank you, Erica Badu. But yes, I need to call Tyrone. All right, so if you haven't already, please go ahead and send that out to, again, anyone you want to. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Send it out. Let the individuals know that we are live and we are giving some good, solid information about what you as an individual should be doing when it comes to your credit understanding. All right, moving it right along. All right, so here I'm going to ask you a question before we dive into it. Do we have the will to do big things for self and for country? This is a question that was posed by Bill Maher. Love the show. Thank you, Bill. I wish you'd have me on there one day because I don't think you talk to enough ordinary people. Not that I say I'm ordinary, but extraordinary individuals. I think you talk to a lot of people who are your regulars and your normals, but I think you really should start looking at some of us who can add a bit more value to the conversation. Not saying that your guests are not valuable, but I really think that we should have a mixed panel. So, but as I stated, do we have the will to do big things in this country? Because some things right now that I'm looking at that we should be doing, we're not doing. For self, we're not doing it, and definitely for country, because the failing infrastructure, the failing school systems, the failing public works, I can go on about many, many things that are failing. The failing opportunities that we have with California burning up, as Bill Maher pointed out. East Coast flooding. And the one thing that could prevent a lot of that is something that would be able to channel that water from where we have too much to where they don't have enough. It's not that hard, but we can frack. We can go miles and miles and miles under the earth to get all of the dirtiest substance in the world to try to produce resources for transportation. But we can't do something like getting water from one side of the country to the other side of the country, or even on the side of the country where it is, just by desalinization. Come on, people. We don't want to do big things in this country. But I want everyone, if you're watching or should you be watching, please answer that question. Put it in the comment section there. I would love to hear your feedback. Just a simple, yes, we are. What would it be? And moving on. Just that simple. If you would be so kind, I'd be greatly appreciative. Thank you. All right, so who am I? My name is Tyrone Glover, and I'm the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. And I'm a math teacher. I teach math, I teach technology, and I teach business. I'm an advocate of human rights, consumer rights, voters' rights, and I also am very much into the acts and policies, best practices that on the federal and state level and our local level. I'm here to make sure that our people have somebody who advocates and is an activist for their and also my rights. And if we don't know these things, if we do not understand our rights and the acts that protect us, we don't have them. So it's really important that we equally start looking into who's actually working for us. But it seems like right now that our politicians are working for self. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a day trader. I'm a summary judgment intermediary, which basically what that is somebody who likes to go to court. I don't like to go to court per se, but I love to help individuals go to court if they're dealing with a civil situation. Clearly, if it's something that's illegal in that regard and you need to have a lawyer, by all means. But for the most part, any type of debt, that's a civil situation. You can easily, with the information that I know over the last 15 years of compiling what I've compiled by putting a business together, I can tell you right now, I can get you out of almost any situation known to man if it has to do with a civil debt. Any type of debt that has been gone through the process, I'm telling you right now, what we know is unprecedented. And the individuals out there that are telling you it isn't that case, it isn't that way, I'm telling you right now, they're wrong. They're feeding you, they're giving you, they're perpetuating the other big lie. And we need to break this cycle. It's just that simple. So moving right along, there are a number of stats you probably heard which show the severity of the racial wealth gap in the United States. For example, the median wealth of white families is 6.7 times greater than the median wealth of black families. This is in 2016. The Institute of Policies Studies found that it will take 228 years for the average black family to attain the same level of wealth as white families. 228 years. Folks, we need to start last week. We needed to start decades ago. It's just that simple. If it's going to take 228 years, we needed to start a long time ago. But I want you to just take a minute and look at those the wages needed to afford the rents. And I really wanted to dive into the home ownership portion, but this was one of a very significant, because right now people are putting a lot of their emphasis into renting. All right, look at New York for just a second. And I hope everybody can see that. That's $34.03 for a 2-bedroom. $34.03. You need to earn or make hourly $34.02 to be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in the United States, in New York. Okay, in New York. So for those of us who live in New York, and we know for a fact that we're not nowhere near close to that, then we're going to have to do some significant improvements on our credit, because that income that you're not making could be offset by your credit if you do the right thing. Yes, I just said that income that you're not making, if you could easily find a way to get your credit up to, say, another 100 points or 200 points or even 300 points, depending on where you are, you could offset that cost, that difference. Get out of these renting situations where you're paying someone and I'm going to have to put it out there. I'm going to have to put it out there. Stop paying these slumlords who are not living up to their contractual understanding. And if they're not, you need to start seeking out individuals like myself, because I'm telling you right now, one of my friends did it. Sought me out. Hey, Mr. Glover, I'm having some issues with my landlord. Oh, take me some pictures. Let me see what's going on. I was mortified at what this individual showed me, where and how his conditions were in his apartment. I was mortified. And he was still giving this individual money because there was this threat of, I'll sue you, I'll take you to court. This fear of, but yet they're not living up to their end of the bargain. And this is what we've been dealing with for some time now. The other party's not living up to their end of the bargain. Anyone going towards a moratorium or getting ready to have to deal with something like that, please, I'm begging you. And I ain't too proud to beg. Thank you, TLC. I am not too proud to beg to ask you, please, before you do anything, drop us an email. Go to Soul City, drop them an email. Say, hey, I need to talk to your credit guy. because there's some information out there that he might be able to give me that could save you, that could put you on the path to righteousness when it comes to your financial understanding. We have to stop letting these other end of the spectrum, those who so-called have the power, we have to stop letting them believe that they have this fake power, which they really don't. If they're not living up to their end of the bargain and you are, you have more power. Just that simple. Yes, your carpets need to be changed. Yes, your walls need to be painted. Yes, your windows need to be updated. Yes, the infestation of whether it be four-legged creatures or more-legged creatures need to be rectified with. We shouldn't be living with in situations that are not conducive to the very individuals that themselves they wouldn't live in it. So we got to do better. And the best way to do better is with understanding how our credit can have that biggest impact. All right? What isn't as commonly known is how credit or credit scoring systems perpetuate the wealth gap. All right, so what is the wealth gap? To understand the importance, or excuse me, the impact which credit scores have on the racial wealth gap, it's important to understand the history of the credit system. All right, credit scores were created in 1956 by, and now we understand how we got FICO. This was Bill Fair and Earl Isaac. The name's FICO is an amalgamation. Now, the amalgamation is a noun. This is the actions, process, or results of combining or uniting. So that's why they have Fair Isaac, all right, or Fair Isaac Corporation. Okay, just that simple. So that's where they came up. Bill Fair, Earl Isaac. That's why we now have FICO. All right, credit scores, much like standardized testing in schools, are meant to simplify the decision-making process of loan approvals. And on its face, credit scoring appears to be a racial neutral formula. All right. However, in practice, the tool embedded and already existing racial biases further into our financial system. So that means is that they've tied these biases already into the system. I still can't understand why, if it's asking me on that credit wheel that 35% of your overall payment is for payment, then why is it that they have 7 different categories? What I mean by payment is utilization, payment history. All right, those 2 categories are the biggest 2 categories, and they weigh together 65% of your overall credit score. But yet not Fair Isaac, not Privacy Guard, not Identity IQ, not Credit Karma, who I just came to find out is now owned by Intuit. Intuit is the individuals who own TurboTax. Was surprised to really find that out. Billions of dollars that they bought Credit Karma for, which Intuit just bought MailChimp for some billions of dollar industries. That's all they do. Scarf, buy here, buy there, buy here. But they're still not going into those programs and actually reevaluating those programs and asking those algorithms, are these algorithms actually fair? Are they doing things to help all individuals? And I can tell you right now, they are not. Those algorithms are corrupt. Those systems that they're using, number one, Oscar is corrupt. It's only set up to harm individuals. It's not set up to aid or assist individuals. That's why you need companies like Leverage Credit Recovery, because we're going to give it to you straight. We're not going to pull any punches. We are the true advocates. We are the true activists of making sure that not just our individuals of color, but all individuals. If you reside in these United States of America, as much as I love my people, I'm going to do for all our people. It's just that simple. But I really want our individuals of color to finally make this opportunity and take the hand I'm offering you my hand to help you get out of some of these horrible situations that you currently find yourself, where credit could be the best means of moving you forward. All right, African Americans typically experience significantly higher rates of unemployment and underemployment compared to our white counterparts. Yet 65% of credit scoring models is based on payment history and credit utilization. I just said it, 65%. These factors are directly associated with the ups and downs in a personal income. And since we're not earning enough, again, they just went to $15 here in this state as of July 1st. So those of you, if you have checked your income statements, which you should be checking your income statements every single, whether you're getting paid bi-weekly, whether you're getting paid weekly, whether you're getting paid monthly, you should be checking your income statements often just to make sure that you are getting paid properly. Because I can guarantee you right now, there's some mom and pop shops that have not increased their employees' wages. I can tell you right now, I know for a fact that they have not. And those of you who were already making 15 or 16 or 17 or 18, there should have been some small increase in yours from your employer just to kind of let you know, hey, still appreciate you, still love you. And if they haven't given you that, then that tells you a lot about that employer. But we got to do better just in the understanding of how we negotiate our understanding when it comes to our finances, how we negotiate equally when it comes to, I know all of us are now, not all of us, but a lot of us are now re-emerging from the pandemic. We're now seeking out these employers who are, again, in my opinion, I'm not going to call them ungrateful. I'm really not, even though they have made billions. Again, think about this for a second. We have had companies, at least in my 55 years of being on this planet, we have had companies come from startups in their garages or startups in their dorm rooms to become $100,000 companies, to move into the $1 million company spectrum, to now advance to the $1 billion category. And some of these companies now today are even in the trillions of dollars, but yet they can't seem to pay a living wage. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't get it. They can make companies, or they can have CEOs who are now having space races, but yet they can't pay a fair wage. They can't pay a living wage. Why? What's wrong with this country? It goes back to that big thing again. Why can't the federal government figure out that, oh, you know what, $7.25 is not a decent federal minimum wage? Because that's not showing competition. That's not saying that the federal government, that's more or less saying that the federal government doesn't really care that its people aren't really able to live in states where, again, the cost of living is much higher. So if the cost of living is much higher, then those employers should be wanting to give their employees a living wage. This is not going to bite into your bottom line. And for those individuals out there who say that it is, I would love for you to join my program. I would love for you to have me on your program. MSNBC, Fox News, CBS, ABC. It doesn't matter. WB, it doesn't matter. Cheddar, I give Cheddar nothing but a lot of love. Have me on. Let's talk about some real issues, some real subject matter that's going to move the needle, that's going to get people to get up off their hiney parts and really start taking this situation serious. Wealth is going to be generated through your credit. It's clearly not going to come from your employers because they don't even think that you're worthy of a living wage. They still want to keep it down to that bare minimum, that barely letting you exist minimum. We got to want more, and it's going to have to happen from us owning our finances, from us owning how we do our business and with whom we do our business. I was just having this talk with our producer, and I was letting her know that, hey, if we, and I think we should, one day, blacks and Hispanics stop for one whole day, pack you a lunch, do not spend not one dime. Now, clearly, if you got to get back and forth to work, no problem. I understand that. Put that gas in that car. Okay? Take that bus, take that taxi, whatever it is to get back and forth. But as far as the others that come with that, no. No McDonald's, no Burger King, no Taco Bell, no ordering out Uber or DoorDash. None of that. None of it. None of it for one 24-hour period. If we do that, it's going to send ripples. The same ripples that they sent through us when they said, oh, we got a pandemic, because we had leadership that was oblivious. Oh, it's going to be done in 24 hours. Or it's only going to be done in 15. Or it's not that serious. Come on. Come on now, people. Come on, really? We can't do big things because we got too many big lies going on. And one of the big lies is that black people don't possess the will or the skill to be able to do or get to that next level. Not only do we possess the will and the skill, we've done it before. We've done it before. We've done it on multiple occasions. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, that's all. We've done it on multiple, but that one is our most I think it's notable. I think that's the word I'm looking for. But it's been done in other places as well. It's been done in other places as well. So why are we not taking this serious? Why? What are we waiting for? Are we waiting for another pandemic? Are we waiting for another black president? Because the first one, as brilliant, as talented, as articulate, as I saw the very first black president and was super proud of that president, I really don't think that the policies, the procedures, the structure, the understanding of our elected officials who, whether they be R's or D, I don't think they were ready for a black president. This nation was, because it had the youth turn out. It had the middle class turn out. It had the blacks turn out. It had the Hispanics turn out. It had a lot of factions that turned out to give him not one term, but 2 terms. And then this nation did what I thought it would never do, is it went so far backwards, put somebody in office that only did one thing. It taught us to bring out the worst in all of us. That's what it did. That one 4-year term brought out the worst in us as a nation. And we're dealing with it right today. And that has to, in my mind, is every morning I get up. Every day that I get up with a purpose in mind. And I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to educate. My purpose is to teach. My purpose is to put into those hands those individuals that can truly benefit from this knowledge. And I'm going to do it until the man upstairs calls me and tells me, hey, we need you for another task. But we got to want it more. These factors, again, are directly associated with the ups and downs of a personal income. If you're not making enough money, you have to find ways of being able to leverage your other understandings. Side hustle, get that side hustle on. Keep that primary job. Side hustle can come in multiple ways. You can still be an Uber driver. That's the gig economy. You can be a day trader. That's another part of that we should be teaching our individuals how to trade. We should be getting with our Dr. Yana Bees. We should be getting with our Antonio Quinadas. We should be getting with our investment professionals and having them sit us down and walk us through, hey, what can I do with $5? What can I do with $10? Can I put this away and have it grow into something? Absolutely. I'm seeing it every single day with the various platforms that I'm using, and equally looking at also getting with the Dr. Yana Bees, getting with the Antonios, and diversifying even further. But you got to want it more than we do. You have to want it more than the professionals who are out there seeking you. And all we want to do first and foremost is give you education. We want to educate our public. And then you can go out and you can make an educated decision as to whether or not your financial circumstances are living up to what you expect, not what I expect. I know what I want for you, but you're going to have to want it more than me. So for decades, most credit scoring models did not consider rental payments. Why? Why? If we can't own, which that's the asset that allows for us to build that credit through the roof, then why not take the one thing that the majority of Blacks, Hispanics, those of the lower income realm, why not add that to the credit building process? Why? Well, clearly it would help. But those who wrote policies thought, ooh, can't help everybody, so let's eliminate 70, 80% of the public by giving Equifax, TransUnion, Experian full power to do whatever it is that they want. And one of the most egregious things that these individuals do is that they do not even report your monthly payments on one of the biggest expense that you have as a citizen of this country, which is your means of keeping a roof over your head. Rent is equally as important as your mortgage. And we should all be requiring of our congressional leaders that they add that to everything that Equifax, TransUnion, and why not put some utilities on there as well? Not as a caveat like some of these companies are doing now. As a caveat, oh, you can put your cell phone. Don't get bought up into that garbage because that don't work either. And good evening to you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for chiming in. But don't get bought into that. That's not those gimmicks that Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are bringing out there. Boost your score. That's gimmicks. Please do not get caught up into these gimmicks. So while the consideration of is beginning to gain traction, and it is, they've got more companies out there who are, oh, let's add this, let's add this. There's one out there that I believe, but they're only reporting it, and that's called Rental Karma. They're only reporting it to TransUnion. So that doesn't really help you. If you're going to do something like that, Rental Karma, it needs to go to all three. If there are other companies out there thinking about bringing this into the fray, it needs to go to all three, and it needs to be done in a manner that's equitable for all. It's just that simple. As I stated, I'm talking to African Americans, I'm talking to Hispanics, I'm talking to primarily individuals of color, but I'm literally mentioning this to everybody. You all, especially our poor middle-class white folks who, for whatever reason, believe that Blacks and Hispanics have taken something from them. No, we haven't taken anything from you. Who's been taken from you are the people who look just like you. All right? I'm attempting to give back to you with consolidating all of us who have been deprived of wealth. And poor, middle-class, white folks, you are just as poor, middle-class as us Blacks. Just that simple. So you got to want it just as much as we do. So as I stated, it's important to remember omitting these payments disproportionately affect Black communities as Black ownership rates are 30% lower than white homeowner rates. I mean, 30%. That again, that doesn't sit well with me, and it shouldn't sit well with anybody who's an educated, smart, intelligent, brilliant, bright, whether you have a master's degree, doctorate, an associate, or if you're just a high school recipient of a diploma. That shouldn't sit well with you. It shouldn't sit well with anyone, especially our elected officials. This new infrastructure bill that's now out for $1.5 trillion, this new American Act bill that's out for $3.5, where you got, again, I'm not even going to call him a D, I'm going to call him a R, Joe Manchin. Or is it Joe Manchin? I think it's Joe Manchin. I think that's his name, but I'm going to say Senator Manchin. I'm going to use it like that. Senator R. Manchin, because we can remove that D, because clearly he thinks that $15 is too much for his state. I guarantee if he talked to more of his constituents, they'd probably tell you, I could use $15. But for him, even though he gets all the perks under the sun, he gets millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for his congressional offices to do everything that they need. They get this type of benefit and that type of perk and this type of benefit and that type of perk. But what do they want to give us? Absolutely nil. Nothing. That should not sit well with anyone. And if Manchin's got to go, bye. All of them need to go, to be honest with you. It's sad to have to say that about our congressional leaders. And I'm talking from dog catcher all the way up to governor. I'm talking dog catcher all the way up to all these senators. You guys really need to reevaluate what you're actually there to do, because I don't understand how Joe Manchin could have power. How? I thought it was we the people who had the power. But clearly something has shifted, and we need to shift it back to the understanding of the Constitution. We the people. They work for us. They don't have no power. They got fake power, just like they have fake outrage every time something happens in Afghanistan, or if something happens in one of these territories that we are not necessarily occupying, but pumping in a lot of resources. All the finger pointing at this one, that one, and this one, and that one, and this one, that one. They don't have no power. And until we start telling them and showing them that they don't have any power, this is what's going to continue. This type of, again, disproportionate situations are going to continue, and they have to stop. And this is the day that they have to stop. I'm imploring all of you, stand up for what is right. And what's right is that we have to start looking at how our money's working. Because clearly right now it's not working. But I tell you right now, as I stated, I'm going to propose it. I'm going to have one of these days where I'm coming on and I'm going to say, don't spend not one dime. Not one dime. Let's make these Walmarts, Targets, Amazons, all of these car dealerships, manufacturers, every single last one of them, let them feel the impact of us not shopping. And if 24 hours won't do it, hell, let's do 72 hours. If 72 hours won't do it, hell, let's do a whole week. But I guarantee you, the impact will be felt immediately. All right, so 5 factors revealed the current crisis in Black home ownership. So here's one of them. The current 30% points gap between Black and white home ownership is larger than it was in 1968 when housing discrimination was legal. And it cracks me up, it tickles me, but it infuriates me equally the same. Since housing discrimination was legal, it got worse. Didn't get better, it got worse. So what are our elected officials doing? Oh, I know what they're doing. They're pocketing. They're getting richer, because some of these very elected officials are the same slumlords that I talked about in the beginning. Or at least they give the same slumlords the power to keep doing what they're doing. The racial home ownership gap is tied to the racial wealth gap, as well as to the trend of rising economic inequality more generally. Rising economic inequality. Do you think the pandemic made things better for people, or did it make things worse for people? Because clearly, if you think better, you are not sleeping on the same side of the bed that I'm sleeping on, because I'm sleeping on the conscious side of the bed. It made things worse. Rich people got richer, poor people got poor. And not only did rich people get richer, poor people get poorer. Congress decided to cut off the aid that they were giving. And this is what we deal with. Even in blue states, they still cut off. They cut off the very assistance that could have kept you going, or would have been competition for the Walmarts and the Targets. Because the Walmarts and the Targets are thinking you're coming back for, $8, $9, $10. It needs to be that our United States government shows all of the employers, this is what you must do, or guess what? Why don't the United States government hire all of the workers? Yeah, there needs to be competition, but there needs to be real competition. Real. United States government raise the minimum wage to $25, make these employers pay their fair share. Make these employers give a living wage. Make them, force them. And the only way to do that is not keeping the minimum wage at $7.25. It's raising it to 15, and then every year to the cost of living that was, not to the cost of living that is, all those years that you forgot to adjust to the cost of living. Put it to where it needs to be. $25 is still about $8 to $9 shy of where it should be. Again, if I already told you that $33 or $38 is the the hourly salary that you need, and you're only getting 15, you're still $20 away. All right, you're still $23 away. You're still $23 away. That means you're going to have to get that side job. That means you might even have to take out another job. So you're looking at 3 jobs. I had a friend who had 4 jobs, and he thought he was doing something for himself. Number 2, if the black home ownership rate was the same today as it was in 2000, America would have 770,000 additional black home owners. Black home ownership has been the slowest to the slowest to recover from the Great Recession, and their home ownership rates has decreased to below precise levels. That's horrible. That is horrible. There would be 770,000 more black homeowners if the home ownership rate covered to its pre-crisis level. Think about that for a second. 750,000 more black homeowners. Keep it moving. 3, home ownership is lower for black college grads than for white high school dropouts. Why is that? That should be something that, again, should alarm most of us. That as somebody who goes to college, gets a 4-year degree, gets a doctorate, even goes beyond that, becomes a professor, just does everything educationally, and they may still not be able to get the same type of loan or lending opportunities that a white high school dropout is able to get. That's telling you that it's not you. That's telling you that it's policy. That's telling you that it's Oscar. That's telling you that it's manipulation. That's telling you that it's systemic. That's what that's telling me. I'm 55. And that's exactly what that's telling me. I've done far more research than most of these economists. These inequalities in the shouldering of the student debt burden may therefore also be contributing to the widening home ownership gap, as those who carry or default on student loan debts are less likely to meet mortgage lending credit standards. And it's not that they're defaulting because they're wanting. They're defaulting because of the meager wages that these employers are offering. Garbage wages. That's why the United States government has to be the #1 employer of the private sector as well. Force these companies to pay what they need to pay. It's just that simple. Raise the minimum wage, and it will put these companies in a position of competing. And forget about outsourcing. I am so sick and tired of calling somewhere and I get somebody from Bangladesh, or I get somebody from India, or I get somebody, and again, nothing wrong with these countries. I love traveling the globe. I did it before I came back to the States, and I'd love to do it again. I have no problem going. I've been to Indonesia, I've been to China, I've been to Japan, I've been to South America, I've been to South Africa. Of the 7 continents, I've been on 4 of them. So I like travel. I have no problem traveling. I think these countries can also equally do for themselves if the United States decided to move their hands out of making sure that, we're getting something from over here and over there. No, focus on home, America. Do what you need to do first, not saying nothing about segregating or moving ourselves or America first. That's not what I'm saying here. So for all of you critics thinking, he's talking about America first. No, I'm talking about making sure that those of us at home, every single citizen, has what they need to have. Then we can talk about, okay, let's help this place, that place. We just left Afghanistan, $4 trillion in 20 years, $4 trillion. $4 trillion, the same 3.5. Oh, well, if we take, that leaves 500 million. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Why can't we do what we just stopped giving $4 trillion to Afghanistan? So you mean to tell me we can't take that very same $4 trillion? How is it going to be paid? There it is. There it is how it's going to be paid for, right there. Joe Manchin, you still got a problem with that? It's already paid for. Taxing the rich would be another way to pay for it. Black borrowers are less likely to meet the traditional credit standards necessary to qualify for a mortgage. Why? Why are we less likely? We still work, we still do, we still add to this economy. So why is it that we're less likely? Unless it's systemic, unless it's something far deeper, unless it's policies that keep us from being or doing or having the abilities to do. These differences in credit scores by race can be at least partially explained by the forces of structural racism in the financial system. Research has shown that the legacies of redlining and community segregations have limited Black borrowers' access to traditional credit and exposed them to disproportionately to predatory lending sources. All of these, what are they called again? My apologies, I'm losing my chain of thought, but alternative lenders that are out there. These companies only popped up when traditional banks were not lending to Blacks, Hispanics, and individuals of color. These were secondary markets that popped up. Payday loans. I don't remember payday loans when I was younger. I don't remember payday loans. But as I got into my 20s and my 30s, all of a sudden, all these payday loans on every corner. Payday loans. You got a liquor store, payday loan store, and a check cashing place. In Germany, when I was there, I saw more bistros, more places to eat, more businesses, not payday loans, not places gouging people, secondary lending, predatory lending sources. Number 5, 17% of Black-white home ownership gap can't be explained by identifiable factors. So that means if you're married and you are a interracial couple, there's not even enough statistics. They don't even do enough statistics to be able to tell us that even that part of it is even fair, because we already know that it's not. Even when accounting for individual factors such as marital status, income distribution, FICO scores, age, median household income, and city segregation, approximately 17% of the Black-white homeowner gap remains unexplained. And why? Because of, as I just said, they're not really putting a lot of emphasis into making sure that individuals of color and also multiracial families have the abilities to be able to. So we gotta want this more than ever before. The best way to create wealth is going to happen through how we address our credit concerns. It's just that simple. How we address our credit concerns, how we hold Equifax, TransUnion, Experian accountable to the multiple millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and fees that these companies pay on a regular basis. And all they do is get a slap on the wrist, don't do it again, from the very same culprits who gave them the power to begin with. But I tell you right now, if I went into school and I wrote out, say, an inventory list of, I need these computers and that computers, and I just sent it through just to be sending it through, my principal would be looking at me like, boy, what's wrong with you? You know you can't do that. Now, I know that's a bit far-fetched, but again, there are certain things that we can do and there are certain things that we can't do. But yet our elected officials have given Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian ultimate power to manipulate and deceive consumers with eOscar. If you do not know eOscar, please do yourself a favor. Check out what eOscar is. eOscar is not your friend. It's actually a high-tech weaponry system that's been created to do exactly what it does, which is prevent hardworking citizens from the benefit of excellent or stellar credit by manipulating the process. And if you're like me, if you're doing challenges or if you're disputing, depending on, again, the verbiage, make sure that you're never receiving anything that has been generated through an automated system. You need them to explain exactly if you are challenging anything on your credit profile. You need to verbatim write in there, I do not accept any form of investigation that has been done through an automated process such as eOscar. Watch those heads spin. All right, so to improve access, this is how we're going to improve access. For instance, rent payments could be considered in credit assessments because African Americans are more likely to be renters than white Americans, and consistent rent payment is one of the strongest indicators of whether someone will be able to pay back a loan. Similarly, payments on telecommunications and utility bills are mostly not reported to the credit bureaus despite the abilities of current credit scoring models to leverage this data. Why is it that a telecom and a utility only reports negative information? Why? And they should go back to the date of when I first got my, I'm telling you, if we were to hold these companies accountable to the malfeasance of only reporting negative and nothing positive, right there alone, that could put many of us right back into that home ownership category. All right, credit standards have also tightened considerably since 2008 crises, resulting in prospective Black homeowners being left without financial options. Going forward, lenders should consider implementing underwriting criteria that more fully and equitably assets on applicants' homeowners' potentials. So in other words, put all of these things in there that we're already paying so that we can benefit from. Put my telecom, put my utilities, go all the way back as far as time, put it all in there, make sure that it all adds up. I guarantee you, we'll be in that 700s. We'll be in those 800s if they played fair. But right now, they're not playing fair, so it's going to have to require that we, the public, not only ask them to, but make sure. And if they can't, guess what we need to do with our legislators, our regulators? Bye. If you can't help me and help yourself, then I don't need you. It's just that simple. All right, so some of the resources that I want to leave you with, Insider, there's a credit gap between Black and white Americans, and it's holding Black Americans back from wealth. The Urban Institute, the 5 facts, reveals the current crises in Black home ownership. The Economic Policy Institute, a good credit score does not protect Latinos and Black borrowers. And this wonderful book that I just got from, and the author is Sean D. Rochester, The Black Tax, The Cost of Being Black in America. Just wrapping it up, Self is a excellent secured credit card recommendation. Merrick Bank has an excellent credit card or secured credit card recommendation. Applied Bank has a excellent secured credit card recommendation. Open Sky and Extra, all 5 of these items are great opportunities to start thinking about allocating and understanding how we now go about using credit to build wealth. Thank you, everyone, for making the time. I'm always super appreciative of everyone. Again, this is Leverage Credit Recovery. Let's stay connected. You can email us at leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. You can go to the website, leveragecreditrecovery.com, or if you want to shoot me out a text at 805-428-9424. Again, as always, everyone, thank you so much. I super appreciate everyone who takes the time, who makes the time to come out, listen to all of my good information. I hope you were able to walk away with some wonderful jewels, wonderful gold nuggets that's going to take you to that next level. Again, wealth is going to be generated through how we understand the credit situation. I'm telling you right now, the wages are not going to go up fast enough, but I can tell you right now, if you do what I'm suggesting, what I'm recommending, if you do what I'm asking you to do, not for me, but for you, you can create the wealth that you're looking for. You can be that homeowner that you want to. You can start getting everything, not at 18, 24%, these default rates, but at 1 and 2%. Yes, I said 1 and 2%. You just got to know how. You got to want it more than those who are offering it to you. Thank you very much, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you, America. Continue to wear that mask, social distance, do what's needed. Observe the science. Science is real. My name is Tyrone Glover. I'm the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. America, be safe.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.